One. Welcome back to the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast we bring you each and every day on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe and bell notification button. Audio versions of the show are available on Anchor. Also, if you want to contact the show, you'll find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you fancy coming on the show or you want a topic that you want us to discuss, you can PM or DM us on there. Joining me tonight for our Monday mashup, as always, Mark, how you doing, my man? That silverware, still red ribbons on it?
Just for now, yeah.
Just for now. Chelsea did you a favour there at the weekend. You don't have to go get those blue ribbons. Also joining me, as always, from the Champagne Lane out in Tallaght, Graham, how we doing?
All good, no?
Silence of the Lambs tonight coming for you, baby. Also joining me, the podfather of the Dynamo Podcast Network, also the representing the Blues of London, Ian Kelly. Ian, how you doing, my man?
More good, my man. Yeah, more good.
Been a great week for a Chelsea fan. Beating City, beating Real. Can't get any better than that, really, when you think about it.
Doesn't really. Done Mark a favour, obviously not having to replace the ribbons, and done Liverpool a favour to have a few more weeks with the banner of champions.
Yeah, and also gave United still an opportunity of winning the league. So hopefully Ollie's going to put out a few strong squads and still chase the league down.
That would be hilarious.
Not tomorrow, he won't. Not tomorrow. Leicester are going to beat us. We'll beat you, and that's your top four done.
Actually, look, you're only half the team without Harry Maguire anyway, aren't you?
True.
Right, let's get into this. Premier League at the weekend. Leicester shitting the bed again on Friday night. 4-2 against Newcastle. It looks like the ghost that haunts Brendan Rodgers is coming back to haunt him again by the looks of things.
Yeah.
Leeds, Graham, 3-1 against Spurs. Absolutely shocking again. Clearly wasn't Jose's fault by the looks of things. Man City and Chelsea, Ian, 2-1. Outstanding performance. Man City at times looked in control there, but came back. What a second half. Unbelievable.
Even against 13 men, with the referee included, we still got the job done. Great to see.
Well, you know, if Manchester's in the name, that's what's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah. I think even Mark there will probably talk about that as well. Some of these VAR decisions are woeful, aren't they? Like it's
The Harry Kane one the other day.
Yeah.
Fucking awful. His toe was off.
The Kane one and the Kane and the Hudson-Odoi one were just crazy. I mean, Hudson-Odoi is literally his shoulder. You know what I mean? And this whole rule of benefit of the doubt going to the forward, it's just well and truly dead. Actually, it's funny because I make a joke and I say the referees. It's not really the referees. I mean, I thought that the Man City penalties probably you probably give it. You probably don't. It depends on the day, but. I think VAR is we're probably going to talk about more of it at the end of the season, a VAR review or something, I don't know, but shocking stuff.
You'd love to, it's like we talked about before, you'd love to hear the conversations between the referee and the lads in Stockley Park to find out what's actually going on.
Yeah.
Because the Harry Kane one, it was probably his finger or something that was offside.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was mad. It's the foot, like, you look at it. It's so, it's so close.
It was the same. Do you remember the Werner one against Liverpool when he got the chip in and it was literally his index finger? Literally, even Noel was saying to me, going, "Nah, that's a fucking joke." Like, you know.
Yeah. Glad they got it right.
Remember, but remember the law say you can only be offside with a part of your body that you can score with. It's all changed now. All these laws are coming out. Like I said before, Ellery's brought over 173 laws in the last 6 years.
We go with the FA as well. It kind of brings back, you know, with all the talk of, you know, United and Chelsea and Liverpool and City being scumbags for wanting to leave. Here we are still run by a corrupt organisation in the FA that are literally, in my opinion, it's quite clear what's going on. It's come out that referees have done it for a long, long time. They won't mention names or dates or times or incidents, but it's quite clear here now that the FA are giving these referees strict instructions as to give this team more than the other. Do you know what I mean? It's obvious. Like, it can't be a conspiracy theory anymore.
But previous referees have wrote it in their books and all, and they have given details, so it's out there now.
Well, to me, it looked on Sunday or Saturday, should I say, that they wanted to get that title wrapped up, and good old fucking Marcos Alonso with that beautiful hair just decided, not today.
Not to see.
It's mad to see him and Aspilicueta. They just like growing in confidence since Tuchel came in, haven't they? Like, you know.
Aspie is Aspie. Well, let's not hijack it with Chelsea talk. I'll let Noel get through the rest of his pitch and then. But no, I agree. I do agree, Mark.
Yeah, then Liverpool 2, Southampton 0. Good win for Liverpool, keeping them in somewhat of a top 4 race at the moment. But we'll see if Solskjaer doesn't mess around tomorrow night. United 3-1 mark against Villa. Great result, coming back again from being 1-0 down at half time. Unbelievable how many times you've done that this season.
Yeah, 10 times this season already. It's unreal. It's not good for the heart, though. I tell you that. But no, we did.
Bruno Fernandes he's equal to Lampard's season, where Lampard scored the 27.
Yeah, no, but in fairness, we started bright. First 20 minutes, we started real bright, where other games we hadn't. And I thought Villa's goal was against the run of play. And then I seen Dean Smith talking about the penalty. A man went through back of Pogba's leg. And if you look at it again, it's a definite penalty.
Absolutely.
Well, I'd agree with that as well. I'd love to kind of jump on the anti-United bandwagon and say it wasn't a pen, but when I saw it, like, it's given. It has to be given.
Yeah.
I
always say if it's outside the box, it's given as a free, so it should be given as a penalty.
Absolutely. Yeah, it has to be consistency.
He was dramatic in the way he hit the ground, though, in fairness.
Yeah, but that's probably did it last season against Villa as well in Villa Park, so nothing surprising.
Leopard can't change his spots or his hairdo, right?
Then we had
that's it.
We move on. Then we had West Ham versus Everton yesterday. 1-0 to Everton, huge win. Moyes losing out against his old club, and a cracking goal as well to go with it. And then we round out then with Arsenal 3, West Brom 1. Good win for Arsenal. Needed to get back on the winning streak. Looked very ropey at times in this game. And if you haven't seen that West Brom goal, it was absolutely outstanding by Pereira. It was an incredible goal. So looking forward to this week. Tomorrow night, Mark, we have Man United versus Leicester. The feeling is he's going to play a week inside, because obviously he wouldn't dare play a week inside against us or he'd lose his job. But I don't know. I mean, like if you pick up the next 2 wins, and if anything was to happen on Friday with Man City, it's you're still in there. There's still that slim chance. Like,
for me, I'm almost hoping for a United win, because I kind of called. You remember, Noel, about 3 weeks ago, I predicted this downfall for Leicester. Just saw it coming. For me, like, I'm happy with third and a fucking FA Cup final, a Champions League final, and at least solidifying your place in there. So in a way, I don't like to be mean to Leicester, but it kind of be nice for us just to get the top 3. So I'll be a bit of a Man United fan tomorrow, I have to say.
Man United. No,
so will most of Liverpool.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting game, because, like, we've seen Leicester against Southampton. They couldn't beat a 10-man Southampton for 80 minutes. Then they got beaten against Newcastle on Friday night.
Yeah.
But you have to look at from their point of view, what team are they going to put out? They've won now in the FA Cup final on Saturday. So it won't surprise me if Brendan Rodgers rests a few players as well. But from Ole's point of view, I heard he's after calling Luke Chadwick and all into the squad. So that should make for the numbers, you know.
At times that could look like an improvement. Don't be even joking about
it. No, I can see that the likes of Boy Tunzabe, probably Tellez might come in. Hopefully Van de Beek might get another 90 minutes under his belt. But yeah, it should be interesting to see what both teams do. Obviously we'd be hoping to get a win, but half of us be hoping that United lose and then we beat you, and then our top 4 dreams are over.
Well, I'd be hoping that you get the win tomorrow night and then we beat you on Thursday and cost you the league. That's what I'm looking forward to. We move on then. Wednesday, we're looking at Chelsea versus Arsenal. Ian, this is, for me, I'm looking at this. This is men against boys, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, look, the way I look at it is, if this had been 6 months ago and I'd have seen the lineup that Tuchel put out on Saturday, I'd have been like, Jesus, that's a weak lineup against a weakened lineup against City away from home when you're trying to kind of guarantee your top 4. But like, whatever he brings in now, whoever he brings in, there's a piece for every component, isn't there? There's a component for every kind of part of the pitch. Like, I mean, like Mark rightly mentioned there, Chilwell has just been a different level of player under Tuchel, and when he steps out, you've got Marcus Alonso. Billy Gilmore, again, the fucking 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid in there playing his heart out the other day. Kante is just literally, like I say, he's the ever ready fucking bunny. Like, he just doesn't stop.
He's like a robot, isn't he?
Yeah, and it's the same with, like, I mean, it's like the Timo Werner conversation. Like, I think next year people are going to be eating their words when they were talking about Timo Werner, because, you know, you look at certain strikers. We look back at Morata, we look at Torres when he was low on confidence. They were almost shying away from being in the 6-yard box, whereas Timo's just in there constantly. And I think eventually the penny will drop for him. It's great to see the work rate, especially. But, like, if he could play, like, realistically, lads, he could play any team against Arsenal, couldn't he? And like get a win. Like, I don't see what Arsenal have that can give us kind of a.
They look shocking. Like, me and Noel were talking about it. You know, they had to score a goal last week against Villarreal. Did 8 shots on target. You look at the Roma game. Roma had 20 shots against us in the first 60 minutes.
They gave it a go.
Arsenal 8 shots, 1 on target. 9 shots, 1 on target. That's a disgrace.
No, it is a disgrace. I mean, if I feel sorry ribbing on Arsenal fans even at this stage. Like, I mean, they literally just have become such an irrelevant team. I'm not going to say a relevant football club, because they were never relevant. Everyone knows London is blue, and there is only one team in London. But you know,
you're not going to stick up for yourself, Graham, no?
That's not to stick up against.
Poor little Graham.
In any conversation about what colour London is, white never comes into the equation.
That's very true. No, I think it's
it's all about Fulham.
All joking aside, yeah, I think Arsenal. I mean, look, that win against City, pretty much you would say solidifies Chelsea's top 4 at least anyway, right? You know, you could even play fucking babies against Arsenal and get a draw, and it won't really make a difference on Wednesday to the bigger picture. But I don't foresee that personally. I think Chelsea will win comfortably. I think he could probably keep the same lineup pretty much and rest certain players again for Saturday for the FA Cup. Stick with Gilmore, you know, maybe bring Zuma in there. Anyone see that Zuma tackle, that last-ditch tackle, by the way? Holy shit. I mean, I'd say, Mark, as a referee, you were looking at it going, fuck, I need a minute to make a decision here.
Would have blown the whistle. Right, lads, we're finished.
Right, what's going on? And then you just go, actually, 10 out of 10 to you. What a tackle. Like, I just have to say, it was just, you know, it's good to see some and that's why I give the referee credit. It's good to see that some of the British refs still do like a good fucking challenge, you know what I mean? Didn't even want to go to VAR. He was like, no, that's it. That's good.
Away. Yeah.
But yeah, no, Chelsea, Arsenal, I think Man U will win the first game. And then obviously the big one is up now for you, Noel.
Yeah, before we get on to that though, while we have you on, we want to mention Tomori for AC Milan. Wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a crazy one, isn't it? Like, I mean, I always thought he was I've always been a big fan of him anyway. I don't see how he fits in this Chelsea team. I think they have a deal, don't they? 30 million quid or something.
Steal at 28.5 million. Absolute steal.
It is a steal. It's a steal. And to be honest with you, being a fan of the player, I would probably say take that deal and stay in Milan and live your best life, to be honest with you. And maybe Chelsea you know, Chelsea are shrewd businessmen and women. Obviously, being Granislaya is pretty much the fucking brains behind these deals. I'd say there's probably some deal there that there's probably a buyback clause, you know what I mean, for a fraction of that within a 2-year period as well. So I think it would be a great deal for Tomori, because I don't, like, Noel, I saw you was talking during the week. Where does he really fit in that, you know, like Christensen's coming in bit parts, but that's because Silva's not 100% fit. So it's,
I suppose when you look at it and you see the way Chelsea over the last 6 months have improved and developed under Tuchel, you're going to be competitive in everything next year. So you're going to need a massive squad, you know. But I was thinking, when I looked at Tomori yesterday with AC Milan, absolutely outstanding, I was thinking he would be the perfect player for Spurs to sign. The perfect player.
Yeah, but they won't sell him to Spurs, though, you see. You have to... It's not FIFA.
Yeah, no, yeah. But that's a pity, because if he went into Spurs, he'd make a huge difference.
Listen, it's not a pity. The lad deserves to win titles and be at a team that's successful. That would be a crying shame if he went to Spurs. Yeah. Leave him at Milan, a great legendary club with some real backbone.
It's not necessarily guaranteed there either at the moment, you know.
No, he could be back though. Yeah, I'd have him back. I mean, if he was happy to come on and fight for his place, like Rudiger did, every day of the week, I'd keep him. But
so then we move on to Thursday. probably the biggest game in the Premier League campaign every year. Man United versus Liverpool at Old Trafford.
According to you, anyway. Yeah. Maybe back when the Premier League started, it was, yeah.
This is the game that realistically will decide our top 4 race. And I know, Mark, we'll be jumping on during the week to do a top 4 race episode, which should be interesting with some of the permutations that come up and stuff like that. And then, of course, depending on how things go during the week, Friday we get Newcastle versus Man City. So the league will be done and dusted on Friday, but who knows, you know? You would expect Man City to beat Newcastle, wouldn't you? Or
you wouldn't know the way Newcastle have been playing. Like, they've been doing really well. And the thing about it is, if there was fans in the stadium, Bruce probably would have left in January or February. So they've kept them on, and the results have come. You know, that was a great result against Leicester last week. You brought your man Joe Willock in from Arsenal. He's been fantastic. I know he's come off the bench a lot, but he's been great for them. But like I said, he's probably lucky the fans, because you know what the fans are like up there. They get on your back in no time, and I'd say he's blessed that he's still in the job.
We'll explain like a player that Arsenal could do with at the moment.
Yeah,
so it's kind of weird how they put players out like that. Yeah. But I suppose the pressure would be on City on Friday if you were to pick up 2 wins this week and close the gap to what, 4 points then or something like that, is it?
4 points, yeah, it would be, yeah.
So it'd be an interesting run out. I said it last week and the week before. Wouldn't it be a madness if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did the reversal on Man City and actually won the Premier League with Man United? You know what I mean? It'd be just unbelievable.
Yeah. Anything can happen in COVID times. It's just mad, isn't it?
I know, but then the rest of us would have to give up watching football if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer won the Premier League with United.
Well, we're in the Europa League final, and Dino's not in here tonight, so that says it all.
Yeah. Let's get on to the 2 European finals. Obviously, Mark, for you guys, I don't think there was any issue about getting to the final. Although
we made it hard for ourselves. Roma, fair play to Roma, they did very well. David De Gea kept us in the game, and but we just took our chances again. Cavani, that legend that is Cavani, kept us in the game. And
good job that you weren't playing Roma next year, isn't it?
Yeah.
It might have been different.
Absolutely. But fair play. Like I said, Roma deserved to win the game on last Thursday. If they didn't, it would have been a crying shame. They just at the back, they need to tighten up and sort out the goalkeeper situation, or the backup goalkeeper situation.
The right man coming in for that, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Tighten you up at the back and kill you at the front.
Especially in Italy, though. You know what I mean? I think that's a great move for Roma, and I think it's actually a great move for Jose, to be fair, because
Mkhitaryan and Smalling are gone now.
yeah, they're bye.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'll be interesting, but I suppose just looking at it, I mean, looking on form at the moment, you'd probably prefer Arsenal than Villarreal, but I mean, Villarreal, it'll be an interesting one with Emery in there, because you just never know what you're going to get. We will be doing a road to the Europa League final. We'll look at United's pathway to the Europa League final later on in the week or next week. Chelsea, Ian, I know you were quietly confident. You never had a doubt, really. You knew you were going to get to the final. You knew you were always vocal enough to say, listen, you knew you had the makings of Real Madrid, and it basically turned out that way, really. You know, 2 absolutely brilliant performances. And then you go and you meet Man City in the final, which we had a kind of a preview of the other day, somewhat toned down. But if you look at the amount of toning down, I think you were way more toned down than what they were, and you still got the results. So you must be quietly confident going into that final.
Very confident against City, to be honest with you. Like, I think it's such a great matchup for both teams, because you've got the kind of attacking prowess of City, and I know City have had a good defense this year, but I think Tuchel's defense is it's probably been the informed defense in world football probably over the last 4 to 5 months. I don't think I'd be out of order to say that. Like, the midfield, whatever pairing you use, like whether it's Kante and Jorginho, or whether it's Jorginho and Kovacic, whether he puts Mount in there, whether he brings Billy Gilmore in there, just that too, they just know their job so well. They know where they have to be. You've got Pulisic, you know, it's like I always say, he's an American, and you can tell that he's an American because he steps up in the fucking later rounds, and we all know like that the LeBron James of this world stepping up in the playoff rounds, and that seems to be the way Pulisic is. You know what I mean? He's just an absolute world beater. You've Ziyech playing fantastic football at the moment. Werner, getting the odd lucky goal that he probably deserves now as well, but still getting assists. And that absolute German Kaiser, Mr. fucking Kai Havertz, who's just growing into a player that looks like the world is his oyster in terms of what he wants to do. He fills that frame out a bit more next year as well. Like, I mean, he's just so yeah. I mean, it's a great matchup. I'm not going to say I'm confident that we're going to absolutely destroy City, but I think looking over the last 2 games, I think there might be a little bit of a psychological battle in there that you know, Pep might be saying, "Well, this motherfucker's had to come in and beat me twice here." You know what I mean? And with a weakened side this time. And yeah, they just seem to be able to step it up against City. I have a sneaky feeling that we're going to we're going to win this one.
Can you imagine in 3 or 4 weeks' time if we're looking at a situation where City bottled the league and United won it, and then they bottled the Champions League final and Chelsea win it? Like that, like they only end up with the Carabao Cup from chasing nearly the quadruple. And being comfortable in chasing the quadruple, that would be unbelievable, wouldn't it? Like, it'd be such a turnaround. Like, it's just unreal.
Unbelievable stuff.
For the neutral, it's going to be some game. If the City team and Chelsea team turn up from the semi-finals, we're in for some game as well. But the team of Werner thing, you could see it before. It was kind of like Robbie Keane with Liverpool. He was trying too much to score. You know, that type of way. He was getting in the right positions, but he was trying too much. But like any striker, you know, that goal he scored last week, he was in the 6-yard box on his own when he came back off the bar. That's where you want him to be. CH, like you said, he was unlucky with injuries this season as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He got off to a flyer, which has then got an injury or two, and he's getting back into it slowly but surely now. And over the last 4 or 5 games, you see the confidence. Even when he's coming on, you can see how confident he is.
Obviously, and Mount as well. Like, I mean,
yeah. Listen, I'm a big fan of Mason Mount. He's unreal, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the kind of superstar we need. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's mad. Like, he was kind of quietly going about his business and doing the little things. And it was only when you were watching him every single week, or if like you boys, you're a football fan and you do watch it every single week, that you would notice what he does. But he's really kind of literally grabbed the bull by the horns, hasn't he, since Tuchel came in? And like he's that leader. Like, I mean, there's a team full of leaders now. You know, as I said, Pulisic is that kind of. He's that Hazard type player, that component that you can bring on anytime you need just a lift, or you can start him and he'll get you off on the right foot.
Well, no, you're right. And I think then Tuchel gave him that captain's armband there a few weeks ago in one of the games. I can't remember who it was against, but it just shows the confidence that Tuchel has in him as well for such a young lad.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. Absolutely. But that's going to be a hell of a final. I'll be a lot more nervy, trust me, about half an hour before the game. You won't see me talking before that match.
No, we'll be there. We'll be there for the match reactions. Don't worry.
We'll be there for the match reactions, but we'll be having palpitations before the game.
Match reactions. Eno getting carted away in an ambulance.
Yeah, that's it.
The guy.
Himself and Wayne sharing a bed each.
This will be on my phone. There he is now.
Yeah, and that's when you win.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
We're missing a certain Monday masher on tonight, Ian, who you wanted to address. It was a big fan of Modric and Kroos.
Yeah, Mr. Dean last week got very heated, saying that City and Chelsea were going to get destroyed by PSG and Real Madrid collectively. But he took exception to the fact that I said that Jorginho and Kante made Toni Kroos and Luka Modric and Casemiro look old and look slow. And he guaranteed me that that wouldn't be the case last week. But obviously Dino has decided to no-show today, like the coward that we all know that he is. Like Liverpool this year, he's decided to go hiding. And I'd like to say, Dean, I told you so.
He's outside Anfield protesting about the Super League at the minute.
Wanted it to go ahead.
It's all love. Dino knows I love him, but I thought that had to be addressed.
Don't worry,
wait for Dino in the comment section below.
That's it. I was just about to say that right down there in the comments. He'd be all over it later.
Exactly where he should be, hiding hiding in the comment section.
Let's get on to some hot topics, lads. Ian, the first one for you: Pirlo to be sacked as the Juve manager and Ronaldo potentially in the Europa League next year.
It's a tough one for me because I'm a big Juve fan. They'll always have a special kind of place in my heart, and it's kind of my European team. I mean, I think Pirlo being brought in, I think they just expected that to work. I think Pirlo was suited more to the role of like what, say, a Petr Cech does, with Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? Actually scouting talent, and he's a great mind for the game. I think him building a team would have been a perfect, like a director of football type role. But at the same time, he went up against Antonio Conte. He is the master of coming in and changing teams within 2 seasons and getting league titles and then fucking off. You know what I mean? Do you know what? In the Italian league, it wouldn't surprise me if Conte goes home to Juventus now next year, and that's who he's replaced with. He'd be like, he's the type of fucker. Conte will be like, Juventus, how much money are you going to give me to sign players? Inter, how much are you going to give me to sign? And that will be almost what he weighs it up on. No, but I think it was I probably would have given him a bit more time personally. I think Juventus are just shell-shocked, to be honest with you, in terms of how the Milan clubs just took a rise, and obviously next year as well, lads. Don't forget we've got Mourinho with Roma. I'm very surprised that Juve didn't look at that. Do you know what I mean? I really am surprised that Juve didn't look at that.
But like, Ian, is it the fans that because he's only lost 8 games and hasn't he in the year or something like that? It's crazy. Like if you look at I just looked at it earlier. It's a win ratio of 62.5%.
Yeah, that's not bad. Like, and he's pretty green as a manager. Like, do you know what I mean? He's not like he had the right idea and the right style of football in mind. I mean, I don't know what they want. I mean, if they knew they were going to do this and they saw Mourinho go to, Mourinho would have been tailor-made for Juve too to get their defence right again, right? I think so anyway. Yeah. Juve fans will probably tell me no. Fair enough, because I understand it's probably not the style of play you want, but I mean, he has that relationship with Ronaldo already. Do you know what I mean? I would have thought it would have been, a shoe-in, but obviously there's something going on. I to be honest with you, Mark, I think you're right. I think it really boils down to that Juventus were shell-shocked and don't know what to do. Yeah. And it's like they struck out at the wrong person, personally. Because I don't know who you bring in. Who is honestly available in world football this year?
Ryan Mason.
Sam Allardyce.
No, you're right. There's no one out there. Like we were talking about Spurs and Arsenal and stuff. There's no one out there. Like
no one out there.
Pep isn't leaving this year, right? The top 4, top 5, top 6, say in England, they're all pretty guaranteed that the managers aren't going. I mean, Klopp. Juve might be thinking if Klopp walks away from Liverpool this year or whatever's going to happen in the summer, which I don't foresee happening personally. Yeah. But I'm just saying, they might be thinking, oh, well, let's keep an eye on the Liverpool situation. Yeah. And that would be obviously the perfect, The only thing I could say about Juve is that they possibly look to Germany. There's plenty of great managers in that league that would probably like to step up out of the shadow of Bayern Munich. But realistically, lads, I mean, I think they made a mistake, to be honest with you. I don't see who they... I really honestly don't see who they get. What did they get Ronaldo to be player manager?
I think you never know. They could go back and get someone like Didier Deschamps, who was there before. He's done a good job with France and stuff like that. Maybe he might go into club football again.
Carlo Ancelotti or something like that. If you want to go home, exactly.
I think what's happened as well is like trying to prize a manager now out of a club is nearly like trying to sign a player in terms of compensation and all now. So the world has changed in terms of that. It's not that easy now to just go in and say, we'll take, say, whoever, and like we'll compensate you 15-20 million. That's a player, you know what I mean? So they're looking at it in a different way now. But Mark, obviously your club would have to save Ronaldo. They couldn't have him playing the Europa League, would they? You'd have to bring him back home, wouldn't you?
I think we've been linked with him for the last 9 or 10 years. It's ridiculous. But no, I'd rather take a young player in than bring Ronaldo in just for shirt sales.
Jeez, I don't know about that. I mean, it worked out well with Cavani so far.
Nah, it's not going to happen though. Mark's just being a realist, to be fair. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. Like bringing him in, you're taking away like someone like Greenwood or Rashford's place.
Fuck them. Bring Ronaldo in and get those 50 goals.
I'm thinking Ronaldo and Cavani up front. I'm all over that.
Man.
Give me Martial any day.
Yeah.
Said no one ever.
Martial law. Ian, here's one for you. UEFA meeting with the UK government day to look at the prospect of moving the final to Wembley. That's a no-brainer, isn't it?
I was trying to read a bit about this today. I heard about it. Makes sense. Like, I mean, the only reason you need to go to Turkey at the moment is to get your hair put back in or your teeth whitened. You know what I mean? You don't need to be going watching football over there at the minute.
But they'll have to give it to them next year, won't they, or something like that?
Yeah.
Probably.
You know, Wembley makes sense all around because, as you said, Mark, there, like it's 2 English clubs. You know what I mean? They don't have to travel. I mean, it's the Mecca fucking city in Europe, pretty much, or at least it's one of them. Fans are allowed back in buildings now as well, so you actually be able to put some fans in there too.
Not only that, next year when it's back in Istanbul as a city will make more money from fans being able to travel over there, so it makes sense as well.
And it could be United Liverpool in it then next year, you know.
You want to try and win it, Ian, don't you? You don't want to be losing it.
No, but I think it does. Like, I mean, it's a no-brainer for me as well. Like, under the current circumstances of climate that we're in, 2 English clubs, there's not much travelling for them. The only travelling is for the prawn sandwich eaters, who we know are going to be the ones that are at the games anyway. You know, again, it's going to be the corporate level that pretty much get most of those box seats and all that, and then they'll probably sprinkle a bit of magic dust over some of the fans and give them a few hand-me-outs. So I think it makes sense.
And sure, City section will just be Wayne sitting there on his own. That's all.
Did anyone see the tweet last week? It was fucking brilliant. Just quickly before you move on there, Noel, I should have took a screenshot of it, but it was the day before the Chelsea Real game, and it was Sky were going around to all the Man City fans. Who would you rather play, Real Madrid or Chelsea? And some comment under it goes, doesn't matter who we play, the City fans are going to have that stadium rocking. We're going to be everywhere. And the Chelsea fan literally just went under it. He goes, mate, what was it? This was it. He goes, mate, you can't even sell out the Etihad. Pipe down, you little wet wipe.
That's bad. So, Graham, here's one for you. Spurs are looking to try and prize Bielsa out of Leeds.
Can I just say there, lads, breaking news. Wembley is official, just as we spoke.
Yeah. Wembley, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Wembley is 100% official now.
Stay put. Yeah, exactly.
We can order now all that finalist merchandise.
And you have beaten City and Wembley already this season, so that's a good omen for you.
I'm going over to Wembley, lads. Fuck that. I'll stand outside. I get the jab just for that.
Be worth it. Graham, Bielsa to Spurs, would you fancy
it? Probably yes, because we're at the stage where we'll take anyone. But I think he's
anyone.
We take anyone there at the stage. But
I was talking to Roddy Collins on Friday, and he's interested, Graham. So there you go.
Well, now I think a battle to the death between Graham Potter and Roddy Collins. That's where you're at now. I think what else?
and Allardyce.
And Allardyce.
But now, yeah, he's doing I think he's doing a great job at Leeds. He needs to stay where he is. He got his tactic right against us. You know, he kept like the Kane and Bale and. And Son at bay, we weren't getting the ball at all. Midfield weren't getting the ball. But it's just more speculation for the Sky Sports to put up on their Spurs potential managers odds list. But no, I think he's gonna stay put.
That'd be an easy transition for you actually to move over to Leeds because similar colours and all that. You know what I mean? You just sneak in there. The away jersey's yellow as well and blue. You know what I mean? It'd be handy, like.
You could jump between Leeds and Fulham next season, have someone in the Championship as well. Sure, there's a good one, actually. Scotty Parker. Scotty Parker could come available in the next 2 hours.
As soon as possible.
Absolutely, yeah. Ian, this feels like a Chelsea-flavoured show. Eden Hazard gone from villain to hero in the space of 4 days. What did you make, first of all, Wednesday night, lads? He's just there having the crack with the lads on the pitch. Like they didn't even play a game. Absolute madness.
It was funny because when I was watching it, I was like, this is just like old games. Like, this is like old times. And I saw your man, the PR lad, coming over and like shouting at him to follow him and get back to the dressing room. And like Hazard's just an easygoing fella. Do you know what I mean? And like you have to remember, these are his fucking team of his whole career, basically. You know what I mean? I mean, I'd say Roy Keane would have been having an absolute meltdown.
Can you imagine?
But at the same time, I mean, look, I think he probably became a hero because when they realised that Chelsea could have a deal to sign him for about 60 million, which is a fraction of what they sold him for, they were like, oh shit, maybe we better hype him up a bit again, because I can see that happening this year or next year anyway, to be honest with you. I think the love affair with Madrid and Hazard is probably outrun its course now at this stage, you know what I mean?
I'd say it was all one way anyway, from the beginning. But it was madness, the wave of hate to him, and then all of a sudden scores the equaliser yesterday, and just, you know,
they are a toxic fan base though. Like, they call themselves real fans, but they're actually just mental. It's the same with the Barcelona fans. They're a different breed over there. Like, you know, they go waving white flags and all this shit. Like, I mean, it's very, very volatile environment sometimes to be over in that fan base. Like, we kind of like, you look at me sticking up for Timo Werner fucking categorically, you know, and like, I'll take the banter that comes from other fans, but like, that wouldn't happen over there. No. They don't give you a chance. If you don't do it yesterday, forget about it.
Sure, one season Ronaldo scored over 30 goals and they were still doing them at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Like, what more do you want, lads?
They're very strange, man. Very strange. And I have to say, I think that's the great thing about the English fans 9 out of 10 times. I mean, you look at Torres' time at Chelsea. It was actually funny. I only went back and watched the video of it, right? And that year they won the Europa League when Rafa came in, remember? Torres, I think, scored 25 goals that year, like, in all competitions. And I was like, it's not really that much of a flop. Do you know what I mean? It's more a flop because of you expected more kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you look at that, Torres said it, he goes, I love the Liverpool fans and Chelsea fans equally now, because like they stuck behind me in London. Do you know what I mean? They literally, no matter what, they still stuck behind him. I'd say what he really wanted to say is, fuck those pricks burning me jersey over in Merseyside. I'm a Londoner now.
Yeah, I suppose if you're Ronaldo scoring 30 goals, it's not good if Messi's across the way scoring 50.
Well, yeah, that's the
comparisons are always
holds the world record now. So
yeah, Mark, we witnessed yesterday the streak is over. Sam Allardyce 21 on West Brom. What's the story?
Wow, do you know what's ironic? Do you remember Big Sam came in? His first game was against Arsenal, and in the build-up to the game, he said that Arsenal are in the relegation battle with West Brom. He came in and said that, and now it's ironic that Arsenal are relegated. Yeah. Well, am I right in saying that that's the first time he's ever been relegated from the Premier League?
Yeah, from the top division, yeah.
Yeah,
couldn't happen to a nicer fellow. I'm delighted.
Big Sam. I think he'll probably retire now because he's 66. They've gone down. I read there today that Chris Wilder is one of the favourites to come in and take over from them, so that'd be interesting.
Is Hodgson still knocking around like that? Lad must be literally a carcass at this point. Like,
he's
calling him Paul Bear to do a mortuary on him.
He's retiring at the end of the season. So yeah.
What, from the planet? He's
your little mate is a favourite to take over there. Big Frank, Fat Frank.
For Crystal Palace.
Palace, yeah.
I prefer him to take the Celtic job myself. Personally, at the end of the season, I'd like to see him and Gerrard kind of bring the profile of the SPL up a little bit and see that battle of Glasgow with two legends. But I don't know. Even Mickey Mouse Club, Crystal Palace, like, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? Like, they're kind of just happy to be there. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I don't think Celtic can afford Frank Lampard. They're very tight with spending money. Like, obviously, when Rodgers went, they got Neil Lennon back in again. He had gone on garden leave from Hibs.
Well, that's probably why they stay in existence. You'll see fucking Rangers going into another bleeding situation where they're in debt because they're hiring lads again with the new administration. Like,
madness that league up there.
I think did anyone catch Sam's interview after the game yesterday, where he turned around and he was asked, will you go down with the club and try and bring them back up again? And he said he basically threw the players under the bus and said, I don't think they really have the bottle for it. He was saying that, like, they had plenty of opportunities against the bottom six this year, and they basically shit the bed and dropped points when they shouldn't have. And he was saying it's all well and good going out and getting results against Chelsea and Man City and Liverpool and United and stuff like that. But if you can't beat the bottom six, you're always going to struggle. And he says, I wouldn't be confident that this team would just come back up. It was an interesting sort of slant on it. Normally, but then he said, but listen, we'll have to have conversations next week and see where we want to go.
Yeah, if they throw me a bung, I'll stay for another season.
Yeah. If they give me a bung, for sure. I was being harsh on Sam. Like, I mean, I've always hated Sam purely because he's a bollocks to play against. You know what I mean? And he's a real prick after like in the, I'll be like, what do you think about Chelsea saying that? I remember one year, I think it was Mourinho. He won a 1-0, and I think we should have had about 3 or 4 penalties, like something stupid like that. And he was like, they said to him, "What do you think about Mourinho being upset and Chelsea being upset? You know that the referee didn't take that into account." And he goes, the way he chews to chew gum, he goes, "Tough." Yeah. And he walks off. So I was like, "Fuck you." Yeah. So, like, in fairness, he's actually my kind of guy. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I only hate you because you're good.
And he has big L Sammy Lee there helping him as well, doesn't he?
But he is right, though. Niall, what you said, he's right, though. Do you know what I mean? It is all well and good getting yourself up for them big games, but if you're fighting for survival, like, you know, Big Sam has done this with every other club, like, and obviously he sees an inherent weakness in mentality.
And not only that, the likes of Pereira and all is going to go. He won't be. He's not a championship player. He'll be back in the Premier League with someone like Everton or someone like that. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like a minimal club like Everton.
I just kind of felt with
Money Mess and Graham.
I'm just kind of felt sort of with some of the players hurting yesterday. I thought it might have been a conversation to have with the owner rather than a conversation to have with Sky or whoever covered the game. You know? It's just a
That's Sam, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but he loves all that, doesn't he? Like,
he loves
it. I mean, if you look at the game yesterday, he was hiding for most of the game in the third row of the seats. He wasn't even out in the technical. I don't think I seen him in the technical area even once during the game.
When is someone going to give Uncle Harry a call? I've been waiting for a team to give Uncle Harry a call for a long time.
Yeah. When you say
a team, you mean Spurs, yeah?
Well, classic fucking region, so maybe that's a number for Palace. Actually, get big fucking Harry to Celtic. Let's get that trending. Let's get big Harry to Celtic.
They wouldn't understand them.
I'd love that. Imagine him outside Glasgow. Cup of tea.
And Frank as his assistant.
As his assistant, yeah, I'm telling you. Jamie there just to sell the shirts, you know. He's the male model.
The suit.
We have some campaigners in the UK at the moment. We know that there's been a link now created between dementia and heading of the ball and stuff like that. We've seen a number of older players now who are starting to show onset signs of dementia and stuff like that, and it's related potentially to the heading of the ball back in the day. And I know Dawn Astle and Rachel Walden have requested a meeting with FIFA. They're dementia campaigners in the UK. They've requested a meeting with FIFA's new medical director to have a look at it, see if there is a football link to increased rates in neurodegenerative disease. I'm just wondering, will they be able to create this link? And I wonder if they do create this link, I know we're sort of the sports moving in a certain direction where it's nearly becoming non-contact, but are we looking at a situation where heading could be taken out of the game at some stage?
I'll be gone from it. If that, you know, like your one Rachel, what's her name? Rachel Welly or whatever.
Walden.
Walden.
Yeah, well, whatever her name is. Nonsense, to be honest with you, because if it's linked to one or two players, it's like saying, let's take punching out of boxing because a certain boxer died in the past, or, you know, if that's the case, let's take fucking, you know, all this sports nutrition back a little bit and stop young lads having heart attacks. You know what I mean? It's a nonsense to me. And don't get me wrong, of course I care about the actual physical and mental well-being of other human beings. That's not the point I'm making. But, like, how long has this game been going on? Like, look at people like fucking, you know, some of the old players that are still, you know, talking. Like, dementia is a thing that comes with age also. Like, they're literally trying to pussify the world. This is all just more tactics from left-wing fucking snowflakes, again, that's trying to pussify a game that has already been pussified, in my opinion. And just, let's see if we can link it to that. But, like, where's your links? Like, and on what level are you going to link it as well? Like, do you know what I mean? Are you going to get the top players from the top leagues over the last 100 years and say each one of them have dementia? And if it's a case that it's one lad down in fucking, you know, League Two, or a couple of people down in lower leagues, or a couple of even kind of fringe players that had, you know, inherent, you know, illnesses anyway. Do you know what I mean? It's like this COVID thing, you know, everyone's like, oh, you know, if you already have a bit of a weak heart, or you've already kind of, you know, depending on what, you know yourself what I'm trying to say. They're firing me up now, Rachel fucking Weldon. I think it's absolutely stupid. It's horses for courses. Absolutely, we can look at how we can, you know, take certain things out to benefit players, but heading the fucking football causes dementia. Well, then why isn't every single footballer that headed the ball, especially back in the day when they were literally like cinder blocks? Why aren't they all suffering with dementia?
Yeah, I suppose maybe in some respects there might be like a genetic disposition to it as well in some respects. But I think it's no harm to look into these things. But I think we have to be careful in terms of how we link things and the reaction of linking things and stuff like that. But I do think it is when things like this crop up. I mean, when you see the volume of dementia, I think back in the English team of the '66 winning team, there's a huge amount of diagnosis and onset in that, isn't there? A number of players have been diagnosed with it. Now, what I would say, in fairness,
the weight of the balls back then, though, Noel, as well.
Exactly. The weather.
They all weigh the same. It's in law too. They have to weigh the same, have the same dimensions. But what is different was the leather back then. It stretched more, which absorbed more water.
It's not the weight. It's not the weight. It's actually, because nowadays the ball, like you could literally put your finger through it and it looks like a balloon almost, but it's still the same. Yeah. But no, personally, I think it's ridiculous. And also, Noel, going on your point, we have to be careful of the people that were looking into this as well. Because everyone has an agenda nowadays. Do you know what I mean? We're in a fucking pandemic, supposedly, now, like where there's bigger things going on. They're like, ooh, could be maybe heading out of football. That'd be great. Well, I'll tell you one thing, do it. And I guarantee you no one watches it anymore. Very few people, anyway.
Probably Tony Hewlin made up that thing.
I've been telling you, Dr. Death probably did fucking come up with that idea, wouldn't he? It's sure.
Take the fun out of everything.
Oh, stop.
Absolutely. Yeah, but I suppose, as I said already, I think if there would be potentially a link there, I mean, the last thing we want to see, I mean, we love players that played for our clubs that we follow and stuff like that, you know. We don't want to go down 30 years down the road and see, you know, a Kante or a Gerrard or a Lampard or something, you know, they're in a chair and they have dementia and all that kind of thing.
But Noel, tell me, name all the players that have done now. Like Souness is pretty fucking grand, isn't he? He was a hard player. I mean, there's players of that age now that don't have dementia. So why is it all of a sudden a thing? It's the ones that they're diagnosing at the moment are way further back than Graham Souness. So we're talking about some of the players that played in the '66 winning World Cup and stuff. That comes in old age as well, though. Like dementia is pretty
absolutely.
Maybe, you know, it's called fucking. It's just called genetics, and not just genetics. It's called old age. Like, me, it's just more 2021 fucking snowflake politics, just trying to find the fault in every single thing. And what I'm saying is, maybe start looking at the elbowing of players or head injuries and stuff like that. We've already kind of done that. You know what I mean? But at this stage, there'd be no combat sports, or there'd be no contact in sports, and you'll just have Joe Biden sitting on top of the White House going, "Yay, we won!" And there's a demented fuck. You know what I mean? And he's never headed the ball in his life.
Lads, don't forget, in the 60s and 70s, they were killing each other on the pitch. They were boxing the head off each other. The big tackles and all, you know. So it's completely
Look at the hockey players, lads, straightening it every bleeding week. You know what I mean?
According to the protests at Old Trafford last week, that never happened. That never went on.
By the way, see all them Liverpool fans that dressed up as United fans, they caused that match to be suspended. I don't condone that at all. No, absolute disgrace.
Do you know what I meant to ask you as well? How come
the lads dressing up for the Trump campaign, wasn't it?
How come there's no protest tomorrow night at the Leicester game, but there's a protest Thursday at the Liverpool game?
Oh yeah,
I think Liverpool were behind that Super League. That's the main protest, wasn't it?
Did they look at the weather forecast and it's rain expected for tomorrow or something?
Witherspoons isn't open tomorrow. Thursday it is though, and it's half price drinks all day. So that's
happy hour, yeah.
Witherspoons is like Tesco's. It's 24/7. Don't kid yourself. Mark, let's end on one. Harry Maguire getting injured yesterday. Obviously a big loss. I know at times in the season you would say now it's probably great because Eric Boye comes in, but he will be a loss, won't he, if he's out for any period of time.
Listen, we've been very, very critical of him and Lindelof this season, but you know he's played every minute of every game since he came here in the Premier League, so he's been fairly solid the last while. So he will be a miss. He did a scan today. They're waiting on the results of that, so he definitely out tomorrow. I'd rest him on Thursday as well. If you can't throw him straight back in there, like, you know. But yeah, no, he will. I have to begrudgingly, I'd say, you know, he's been solid for us, and we will miss him.
Yeah, it's a real conundrum, isn't it, with United fans when it comes to Harry Maguire, because, you know, he's had those kind of freakish times in the season as well, but at times he's been so solid and consistent as well.
That's it. And my hair and all starting to morph into him now, so that's how much I love him now.
Well, lads, a pleasure as always on the Monday Mashup having you all on. Graham, go get yourself a manager for next week, will you? This is taking way too long. It's just, it's even painful for me now, and I'm not a Spurs fan. You know what I mean? So let's get that sorted for next week. Ian, Wembley awaiting.
Yeah, sorry to all the left wingers I've offended out there. I'm just more of a right wing man myself. I like Beckham. I like players like that. You know what I mean? So this has never been about politics. This is just my favourite side of the pitch. All right.
Brilliant.
Before you start bringing politics into it.
I was just thinking, Mark, as well. If I had been Arsenal in the final, which you would have got Wembley too potentially.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. Or the London Stadium.
It's nice. No, it's nice. I think it's going to be fun. I always enjoyed it. Graham, sorry to rib you about Tottenham as always, but you know it's all banter, it's all love, but not.
Yeah.
Graham's week would be empty if he wasn't on the Monday Mashup getting ribbed about Spurs.
That's it, exactly.
God help all of us if they bounce back at any stage.
And me and Noel before thought he got a haircut, but he's just been pulling his hair out being a Spurs fan all season. That's what it is.
If you want a blue jersey, now is the time.
Spurs have a navy jersey.
Well, if they want one of those nice Nike jerseys with Giroud on the back or something like that, come on over. We'll accept you in, Graham. I'll look after you now, I promise.
There you go, Graham. That could be an option. If you sell Harry Kane, get in there and get Giroud. Beautiful, man.
Chelsea don't sell to Spurs. I told you this.
Chelsea will sell to anyone in London. Look at Will Yan. You're mercenaries.
Only when they're done, when they're past their sell-by date.
Yeah, that's why I said Giroud.
Yeah,
Giroud is like a fine wine. He stays on the shelf.
Well, lads, as always, a pleasure. Head over to YouTube, Dynamo Podcast Network. Smash that subscribe, bell notification button, share, comments, the whole works. Anchor for audio versions of the show. This has been your Monday Mashup. Cheers, lads. Appreciate it.
Cheers, lads.
Catch you soon.